Hey gang, and welcome back. These videos are brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your unused collection fast and easily. 401 Games, Canada's top shop for all your hobby and TCG needs. Dragon Shield, the strongest sleeves for your strongest decks. Moxfield, the easiest way to store and share your deck lists. And Foil Armor, flatten your foils fast. And today's game has Max winning the die roll. Max draws and plays a tapped Tanglepool Bridge. Mathieu plays a command tower and taps it for a blue for Bruce Banner. Arja just plays a swamp. Sammy plays a Fabled Passage, cracking it and passing while searching for a basic. Max has a Forest Return and pays 2 for Blackblade Reforged. Mathieu just plays a Mountain and then activates Bruce Banner, paying 1 into each X to draw a card. He then has to discard down to 7. Arja's turn has him playing a Swamp and casting Marvin. Sammy just plays a Training Center. Max plays an Island for turn and has enough for his commander with Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Mathieu's got a Forest and then casts Proph's Eidetic Memory, drawing a card as it enters. Mathieu then goes to combat and gives Bruce a +1/+1 counter since he drew an extra card this turn. He then passes while Sammy looks at Bruce Banner and the Incredible Hulk. Arja's got a Swamp and swings Marvin at Mathieu. He takes the hit, and Arja then casts the Creation of Avacyn. Responding, Sammy casts Demand Answers. He pitches a land and draws 2. The Saga then enters, and Arja goes to find a card to exile face down. Sammy plays a Haunted Ridge, and then drops everyone's favorite with a Rhystic Study. Max has got a Forest Return, and then casts Mirage Mirror, paying the 1 for the study tax. He also draws a card from Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, since they see an artifact coming into play. Max then goes to combat, and swings his commander at Mathieu. Matt takes the hit, and Max passes. Mathieu's got a Timber Crown Pathway as his land for turn, and passes. Arja draws, and then ticks up the Saga in his main phase, revealing Overseer of the Damned and losing 7 life. He then plays a Swamp, and casts Baron Helmet Zemo, paying the 1 for the study tax. He ships it after that. Sammy's got a Swamp, and he taps out for Dr. Doom. Sammy then goes to combat, conniving on Dr. Doom, and discards a Talisman to the trigger. This gives Doom a +1/+1 counter, and he passes turn. Max drops an island, and asks the table if everyone's going to behave and pay the study. They all mostly agree, and Max then casts a Thopter Fabricator, also paying the 1. He draws a card from Moon Girl as an artifact enters, and Max also gets to make a Thopter token since the Fabricator sees it as his second card for the turn. Max then goes to combat, and hits Sammy for 6 with Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. During the end step, Mathieu uses a Nature's Claim, and paying the study cost, destroys the Creation of Avacyn. This is Arja gaining 4 life. Now we move to Mathieu's turn. Matt's land for turn is a Mana Confluence, and he then loses 1 by tapping it to help cast Mightform Harmonizer. He pays the tax and passes. Arja untaps and draws. He plays a Swamp for turn, and then taps out for Moonlight Bargain, unfortunately unable to pay for the study tax. Arja looks at his top 5 quickly, and pays 2 life to keep 1 of them, and bins the other 4. His black mana symbol count is now 8 in the graveyard, he announces, and Arja also remembers he has to connive with Zemo, binning that card as well. He then goes to combat, and Zemo goes at Max for 3. Sammy's got a land, and then brings out Green Goblin Nemesis. He moves to combat, and connives with Doom on the Green Goblin. This has him discarding a land, which has his opponents taking 2 from Doom. Sammy also makes a tapped treasure token from Green Goblin, and then passes turn. Max's land drop is a Mech Hanger, and he taps enough for the Omen Keel, plus paying the study tax. He draws a card from Moon Girl seeing an artifact, which is his second draw for turn, and he makes a Thopter token from the Fabricator. Max then casts Lightning Greaves, and he then crews up the Omen Keel, and then equips the Lightning Greaves onto it once it's a creature. He goes to combat, and swings the Omen Keel at Arja, while Moon Girl goes at Sammy. Sammy takes the hit, while Arja chumps with Marvin. Max's second main phase then has him moving the lightning greaves back onto Moon Girl, and he passes to Matt. Matt draws for turn, and once more pays enough to draw one card with Bruce Banner. He finds a land, playing out a forest, which triggers the Harmonizer. Mathieu has its trigger double its own power. Mathieu then takes 1 damage from the Mana Confluence to help cast Hulk, Strongest There Is, and Sammy draws a card. It comes in with a +1/+1 counter, and moving to combat, Mathieu then gets his memory trigger, putting an additional counter onto the Hulk, and passes turn. Arja's got a swamp, and swings Baron Zemo at Max. Max takes the hit, and Arja's second main phase has him casting Damnation, and he pays the tax. He has to resolve the Zemo connive first, pitching Braids, and the board is then wiped, and he passes to Sammy. Sammy draws and plays a land for turn. He then casts Reanimate, bringing back Dr. Doom and losing 4 life. Sammy then follows up with Norman Osborn. Going to combat, Sammy connives on Norman, pitching a land. This deals 2 to each opponent thanks to Dr. Doom, and he passes. Max's turn has him casting Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur again, and he doesn't pay for the study, letting Sammy draw. He then plays an Inventor's Fair, and moves the Greaves onto his commander. Responding to this, Sammy uses Terminate and targets Moon Girl. With that on the stack, Max crews up Omenkeel. He then activates his Mirage Mirror to have it become a copy of Dr. Doom. He then crews up the Fabricator, and once it's a creature, gives it the Lightning Greaves. Max then moves to combat, and gets to connive onto his Omenkeel. He discards a land which has each opponent taking 2 from his Dr. Doom, and he makes a Thopter token from the Fabricator seeing the second draw. He then hits Arja with the Omenkeel, and Mathieu with the Fabricator. With the Omenkeel dealing damage, Max gets to exile Arja's top 3. Max then passes turn. Matt's turn has him drawing, and casting Shaman of the Hunt, paying for the study tax. He then goes to combat since it has haste, and he hits Arja. This gives it a +1/+1 counter, and he then passes turn. Arja draws, playing a Cabal Coffers. He activates it, making 6 black mana, and pays 1 of it for Bone Shards, and he discards a Grave Titan. He does pay the Rhystic Study tax, and uses Bone Shards to destroy Dr. Doom. Arja then taps enough for Command the Dreadhorde, paying the tax again, and targets most of his yard, but Sammy is quick to stop it with an Offer You Can't Refuse. Arja instead gets 2 treasures rather than a board full of creatures, and just has to pass. Sammy's got a City of Brass, and then casts a Dark Ritual, making 3 black mana. He then recasts Dr. Doom, and connives onto Norman Osborn as he moves to combat. He once more discards a land, dealing 2 to each opponent, and then swings Norman at Max. He gets a Norman Osborn trigger of conniving on connecting, discarding Key to the City, which in turn gives Norman a +1/+1 counter. Max gains 1 on his upkeep to the Fair trigger, and draws. He plays the Stolen Land from Arja as his land for turn, and Max then tops enough for the Nautiloid. As it enters, he exiles Arja's graveyard, and for simplicity's sake, Arja pulls out all the creatures. Max then crews up the Nautiloid, and he gives it the Greaves. Max then activates his Mirage Mirror as a copy of the Shaman of the Great Hunt. He goes to combat, swinging the Shaman at Sammy and the Nautiloid at Arja. As they connect, each creature gets a +1/+1 counter from the Shaman, and the Nautiloid on damage trigger also lets Max cast Grave Titan. He gets 2 2/2 zombie tokens as the Grave Titan enters. Max then moves the Greaves onto the Grave Titan, and passes. Mathieu plays out a Kessig Wolf Run, and then swings the Shaman at Sammy. Before damage, Sammy casts Thrill of Possibilities, discarding Carnage. He draws 2, and then takes the hit, with Mathieu's Shaman gaining another +1/+1 counter. Matt then counts up his mana, and taps out losing 1 from the Mana Confluence for a Green Sun Zenith. He finds Xenagos, God of Revels, and puts him to the field. He ships it after that. Arja's got a land with a Crypt of Agadim, which comes in tapped. He then activates his coffers for 6 more black mana, and he uses all of it for Sidisi Undead Vizier, paying the study tax. As she enters, he exploits herself to tutor for a card. Before searching though, Arja shortcuts, bringing up Baron Zemo and passing. Sammy's turn has him casting a Soul Ring, and he then plays out Chameleon, and has him come in as a copy of Dr. Doom. Sammy then goes to combat, conniving on Dr. Doom with both triggers. He pitches a land, dealing a total of 4 to each opponent, and then discards Troll of Khazad-dûm, which has Doom gaining a +1/+1 counter. Norman then connects, and Sammy discards a Crypt-Caller Chariot to Norman's on-damage trigger. Sammy then moves to a second main phase, casting Faith of the Devoted, and passing. Max has got a Forest, and gains 1 from his Fair on his upkeep. He then crews up the Nautiloid, and transforms his Mirage Mirror into Dr. Doom again. Max then gives Doom the Blackblade Reforge, and connives onto Doom as he goes to a combat. He draws a card, and discards a land, dealing 2 to each of his opponents. He swings the bulk of his board at Sammy, the zombies and Titan go at Mathieu, and Dr. Doom goes at Arja. He makes 2 zombie tokens on attack, and this has Mathieu taking a total of 9, while Arja and Sammy are taken out. Max then casts a Larval Scoutlander, sacrificing a land and going to find 2 more basics. He then gives one of his new zombies the Greaves, and passes to Matt. Matt's turn has him drawing, and then begins to do math. He activates the Kessig Wolf Run, giving the Shaman +1/+0 and trample until the end of turn. He then follows up by casting Epic Fight, picking both modes, and he doubles the Shaman's power, and then fights the non-grieved zombie token. The Shaman now has 14 power, and he moves to combat, and doubles the power and toughness again thanks to Thanatos' trigger. He then swings out at Max, which is lethal even with blocks, winning the game. Game review time. So that was more Marvel, and these were pretty fun. I thought it was particularly funny that Mathieu was able to win my Bruce Banner deck, not actually transforming the Incredible Hulk into some kind of combo machine, and it just got there because of combat damage, which is just fun. Baron Zemo was also heavily neutered as a result of Arja having no graveyard, but Dr. Doom seemed particularly spicy this game. The Chameleon copying it was great, and every land he was discarding was 4 damage, which could have added up very quickly, had he not gotten taken out pretty much at the next turn. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, but it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.